Rainbow Road has always been very special to me. It's such a beautifully simple idea, a racetrack infused with colorful celestial energy, flying adrift through the ethereal plane that is the cosmos. Just the very name itself, Rainbow Road, seems to evoke a sort of magic and wonder. If Bowser's Castle, the previous track, was the epic final battle of Mario Kart, then Rainbow Road is the serene and dreamlike epilogue. It's the final frontier, the one track you look forward to more than any other whenever you start a new Mario Kart game for the first time. It's also a chance for you to bask in the triumph of the game's finale, and reflect on everything that brought you here. But don't get too relaxed, as deceptively, it's actually the most challenging course in the entire game. One that puts everything you've learned to the test. And so, if it wasn't obvious enough, I have a lot of love for this iconic stage. And so I'd like to pay tribute to it. And to do so, I'll be examining the track's history over its 8+ iterations, tracking how the stage has evolved and how it's kept its magic over the years. So let's get to it. This is my love letter to Rainbow Road. Beginning this tradition, the original Super Nintendo Rainbow Road is both a prototype of what would come, as well as a unique iteration of the track in and of itself. It's the road in its most pure, simplistic form, just a rainbow in space. It may not seem like much compared to later versions, but you have to admire the childlike genius of this basic combination. In theory, it's difficult to make a space level interesting because space is just space. It's a void with nothing to touch or grab hold of. Most space levels in games either take place on some barren rock like the moon, or on just some spaceship. But here, to create something tangible, they drew together all of the elements of the universe, the suns, the gas clouds, the stardust, and infused them all together into a single, raceable surface, creating a sense of warmth in what is otherwise a cold, desolate setting. And you can't understate the genius of this original idea. But this course also laid the foundation for the road's design philosophy as well, as this is a super tricky race to master, with its sharp 90-degree turns and complete lack of any guardrails. This is a risk versus reward challenge, as its jagged design practically dares you to cut its corners as tight as possible, a risk that very frequently does not pay off. However, while I do appreciate the challenge that came with this layout, looking at it retroactively, this version of the course I find to be a bit too stiff and rigid, compared to the smooth, organic twists and turns of later iterations. And while you may think this is just an inherent problem with Super Mario Kart being a 2D game, I'd like to submit to you Super Circuit's Rainbow Road, which I truly think is one of the best in the series. This track here is really one of a kind, not just for Rainbow Roads but any Mario Kart tracks, as near the entire course is outlined with bounce pads that let you fly through the air and cut corners like mad, and if you're good enough, skip huge chunks of the map. I mean, personally, I suck at 2D Mario Kart, but just look at how this track plays when you're actually good. It encourages this ultra freeform approach, letting you decide how to traverse it, and pushing you to take risks and challenge yourself along the way, to the point where you're blazing through and flying across the sky. In this regard, this course captures the spirit of the road better than any other, and should not be overlooked. And you know what? Super Circuit in general shouldn't be overlooked. I only played this game for the first time like a year ago, but I honestly think this is one of the best 2D racers of all time. So let's all take a moment to appreciate it. Okay, moment over. Putting all appreciation aside though, notice how I said it's one of the best 2D racers of all time. Because frankly, no matter how good these two tracks were, Rainbow Road was practically begging for the third dimension. While those earlier tracks were fun, 64's Rainbow Road is an experience. This is where the road got its X factor, in the form of atmosphere. While the SNES music was fun and spritzy, 64's theme manages to simultaneously be both uplifting and a little bit haunting at the same time. Maybe it's just the nostalgia talking, but I feel very melancholic when I listen to this song. Soaring as it may be, it makes me reflect on my childhood spent playing Mario Kart, and how those years have sadly come to an end. Much like how Rainbow Road marks the end of your own racing adventure. I feel like the credits could start rolling up midway through this race and it would feel perfectly appropriate. But I'd be lying if I said this track was perfect, as sitting at a stupidly long average time of like 5.5 minutes, this track does long overstay its welcome. It may be beautiful, but 3 whole laps of this long winding road is just too much. A lot of people also criticize it for being too easy as well, and yeah, I agree that it loses a lot of the classic Rainbow Road's challenging spirit, but difficulty was never the reason why I loved this track. In fact, I'd say most of my time on this course was spent in time trial, just me by myself soaking in its ethereal energy, watching the flashing lights of the neon signs pass me by, which, by the way, I think was a really nice touch to the stage. It added an element of spectacle that made it clear that this was not just some random void in space, but its own magical realm, and it established a unique visual motif that none of the other tracks had, which is something that almost each subsequent iteration tried its hand at. Double Dash featured large, floating, multicolored objects, and it also moved the location of the track from space to a twilight sky hanging over a city, which I think gives it a homier feel. These are small adjustments and additions, obviously, but they helped each one of these tracks stand out in their own small way, introducing tiny, unique details while keeping the core spirit of Rainbow Road intact. Like how 7 introduced a planetary theme, or how 8's reworking of 64's track introduced a gold motif. However, if there was one track which went too far in its recontextualization and ultimately lost that core essence of Rainbow Road, it was the new rendition in 8. Here, the course was recontextualized to fit a space station motif, with the track and its exterior being reimagined as a piece of man-made tech. And you know what? Kudos to them for trying something new. At the very least, it's an interesting take on the formula, and it was executed with love. I certainly have more respect for this map than I do for, say, the one from Mario Kart DS, which, while a perfectly good track, is ultimately forgettable, as it failed to trademark itself with any new or distinct elements. But just because I respect the effort doesn't necessarily mean I think it was a good change. The problem with this space station idea is that, by making Rainbow Road a man-made object, it loses that mysterious, magical luster. Now it's less mystical and more cold and scientific. The cosmos is just full of organic wonders, natural occurrences that would be potentially just as interesting, but still stay true to the original feel. Like a Rainbow Road trailing behind a giant comet, enveloped in its multicolored tail, while you drive on a track made of crystallized vapor. Or a trippy Rainbow Road that has you traveling through wormholes and time-bending vortexes. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In my opinion, 8's Rainbow Road lacks magic, and on top of that, it's a bit conservative and safe in its track design as well. It's not as challenging or exciting as it should be. It's just overall kind of a weak finale, and I get it. They went easy on this track so as to properly build up to the remade N64 version, which was the real finale track. But frankly, Rainbow Road just isn't one of those things you go halfway on. So yeah, you've now seen the worst. But what about the opposite? Well, in proper Rainbow Road fashion, I've saved the best for last. I present to you the Holy Trinity. Starting with my favorite iteration of them all, Mario Kart Wii's Rainbow Road is just a blast, pure and simple. Say what you want about Wii as a whole, but it introduced some roller coaster tracks to this series. And this Rainbow Road is where they really went ham, with half pipes, cannons, slippery bends, and huge drops. This track is the most extreme and radical of all the Rainbow Roads, constantly sending you airborne or daring you to make that cut. It's just so high energy compared to the others. It's also the first road to be floating over our very own planet Earth, making each fall just feel that much weightier. And matching this extreme design is the super over-detailed, oversaturated visuals. This track goes hardcore on the rainbow factor of Rainbow Road, with star bits floating and glistening everywhere, and blinding rays of colored light all around you. It puts the grays and whites of 8's track to shame. It's just so damn dazzling and exciting. However, if there's one thing it doesn't do, it doesn't tell a story. And this is where the fan favorite 7 comes into play. While a step down in terms of visuals and excitement, this course is just wonderfully mellow and atmospheric. This track was the first single lap course out of all the Rainbow Roads, making this race just one continuous journey, a singular rush to the finish line. And it feels like an adventure, brilliantly brought together by the track's aforementioned planetary theme, a theme which enabled it to tell a story. At first, you hop from planet to planet, before drifting around the ring of Saturn, after which you take a drop onto the cold, quiet surface of the moon, only to rocket back up as you weave and fly through an asteroid field. And, hitting one last upward curve, you get a glimpse of a bright purple sun on the horizon before finishing the race. All the while, the music changes and adapts to your surroundings, from the wondrous, glistening sounds of space to the echoed quiet of the moon's surface. All of it flowing with the grace of an opera. And this, combined with some very celestial Mario Galaxy-inspired sound fonts, makes this one of the most acoustically rich courses in the entire series, with the rainbow track literally shimmering sonically as you drive over it. Which brings us to the grand finale, the revitalized, remade 64 track in 8. This is the game's true end goal, the one that almost makes up for the disappointment from earlier. Almost. Made entirely from the ground up, this is basically an entirely new track, and one that combines the visual splendor of Wii with the adventurous grandiosity of 7. Delivering a short but intense rush of action over a gold-plated Rainbow Road, set miles above a glistening oceanside village. You drive along the winding turns as fireworks go off in the background, and a flying train drops gold coins down from above. As someone who grew up with the original track, playing this for the first time felt like a celebratory welcome home party. Some may say it's too short, I say it's perfect, always leaving you wanting more. This is your reward for having made it this far. A short but intense blast through memory lane. A rainbow-colored monolith celebrating Mario Kart and its rich history. The thing that I think resonates with people about the entire Mario franchise is its intense positivity and the sense of childlike wonder it provokes. And this track is perhaps the greatest showcase of the series' pure optimism and magic. This game doesn't end with a dangerous castle or a dire final stage overflowing with lava, but with a grand and triumphant celebration. You've collected dozens of gold trophies along the way, but this is the true gold medal at the end of it all, as none will ever be able to compete with this soaring golden monument.